The credit score you see on your phone may not be the score a lender sees. So if your app says 720, but the dealership, mortgage company, or credit card issuer comes back with a different number, that does not automatically mean somebody made a mistake. It means the phrase, my credit score, is misleading because you do not have just one. You have credit reports, and then you have scores calculated from the information inside those reports. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion may not all have exactly the same information at exactly the same time. On top of that, FICO has multiple versions of its scoring formula. VantageScore has its own versions, and lenders can choose different models depending on whether you are applying for a mortgage, a car, or a credit card. That free score in your banking app can still help you watch the direction you are moving, but it may not match the number used in an actual lending decision. That is the first thing I want you to understand. Stop treating one number like a final verdict. Your score is not a grade on your character, and it is not proof that you are good or bad with money. It is a risk estimate produced from the information available to a particular formula at a particular moment. That also explains why a score can move when you feel like you did nothing. A lender may have updated a balance, an inquiry may have appeared, or one bureau may have received information before the others. Even the score shown in the same app can change when its underlying report refreshes. Do not panic over every small movement. Look for the reason, watch the broader direction, and pay special attention when the change is large or tied to information you do not recognize. Checking your own credit report does not damage your score. If you like money explained without the shame, the mystery, and all that unnecessary jargon, subscribe now, because that is what we are doing here. And save this video, because I'm going to give you a practical credit checkup before we finish. Most FICO scores look at the same 5 broad categories. FICO generally describes them as payment history at 35%, amounts owed at 30%, length of credit history at 15%, new credit at 10%, and credit mix at 10%. Those percentages are a useful guide, but they are not a promise that one action will give every person the same number of points. Your entire file matters. A person with one new credit card and a short history will not react exactly like someone with 20 years of accounts, a mortgage, and several paid-off loans. Payment history is the largest single category, so start there. The goal is not to make a heroic payment once in a while. The goal is to avoid being late consistently. Put at least the minimum payment on autopay for every open account, then make additional payments according to your payoff plan. Autopay is the safety net, not the strategy. It protects you from forgetting a due date when life gets busy, your health acts up, the car breaks down, or somebody else's emergency lands in your lap. But understand the difference between the due date and the date a balance gets reported. The due date controls whether your payment is on time and whether you may be charged interest or a late fee. The balance reported to a credit bureau can affect utilization, and creditors do not all update on exactly the same schedule. Many report around the statement closing date, but you should check your own statements and credit reports instead of assuming. That brings us to utilization, which is the percentage of your revolving credit limits currently showing as used. If one card has a $1,000 limit and a balance of $500, that card is at 50% utilization. Scoring models may consider both the utilization on each individual card and the total across all your cards. You will hear people say that anything below 30% is fine and below 10% is perfect. Here is the more honest version. 30% is not a magic safe line. Lower reported utilization is generally better, but the effect depends on the scoring model and the rest of your file. If you can pay your statement balance in full, do that. Carrying a balance and paying interest does not build a better score. You can use the card, let activity report, and still pay it in full. The score does not need you to donate interest to a bank. If you are preparing for an application and a high balance is showing, paying before the account reports may lower the utilization seen in the next update. But do not confuse managing the reported balance with solving overspending. A prettier score cannot make an unaffordable payment affordable. Now let's deal with the credit advice that sounds responsible but can backfire, starting with closing old cards. Closing an old credit card is not automatically good or bad. It depends on the account and the rest of your file. When you close a card, you lose that available credit limit. If you still have balances on other cards, losing part of your total limit can raise your overall utilization and lower your score. What usually does not happen is your account age disappearing overnight. A closed account in good standing can remain on your credit report and continue contributing to your history for years. So when somebody closes a card and sees an immediate score drop, utilization may be the real reason, not the age of the account vanishing that day. That does not mean you must keep every card forever. If a card has an annual fee that no longer makes sense, creates too much temptation, or has poor terms, closing it may be the better decision. Your actual finances come before squeezing out every possible point. First, check how much available credit you would lose and ask whether you can switch to a no-fee card. Another mistake is applying for several accounts while chasing a quick increase. Applications can produce hard inquiries, and new accounts can reduce the average age of your credit. Some scoring models treat rate shopping for certain loans differently, but randomly applying for 5 credit cards is not rate shopping. Only apply for credit you need and have a reasonable chance of qualifying for. Now, for the step people skip because it is not exciting. Read all 3 credit reports, not just the score. The report is the source material the score is built from. Go through the names, addresses, account balances, payment history, credit limits, collection accounts, and inquiries. You can obtain free reports from Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion through annualcreditreport.com, the federally authorized website. If you find an error, dispute the specific information. Include copies of anything that supports your position, such as statements, confirmation numbers, or bank records. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau recommends disputing with both the credit reporting company and the business that supplied the incorrect information. Do not dispute accurate negative information just because you want it removed. Accurate information generally cannot be erased by using the right secret phrase, and anybody selling that promise is selling hope, not a loophole. Be careful with the authorized user advice too. Being added to a well-managed older card may help if the issuer reports authorized users and the scoring model considers that account. But it is not guaranteed to produce an instant increase. A high balance or negative history could hurt instead, and the primary cardholder remains responsible for charges. This should be a transparent arrangement with someone you trust, not a stranger selling access to an account online. So here is your practical credit checkup. First, pull all 3 reports and compare them line by line. Make a list of anything inaccurate, unfamiliar, duplicated, or outdated. Second, list every open account, its minimum payment, due date, balance, and credit limit. Put the minimum on autopay where possible, but keep enough money in the payment account so autopay does not create an overdraft. Third, calculate utilization on each card and across all cards. If you have money available for extra payments, paying down a card that is close to its limit may improve both your finances and the way your revolving debt appears. But keep an emergency cushion. Emptying your bank account to improve a score can force you right back onto the card after one unexpected expense. Fourth, avoid unnecessary applications and account closures while you are preparing for a major loan. Stability is more useful than frantic movement. Fifth, before applying, ask the lender which credit bureau and scoring model it generally uses, if it is willing to tell you. You may not get every detail, but at least understand that the free score on your phone is a monitoring tool, not a guaranteed preview of the lender's decision. And finally, remember what credit can and cannot do. A stronger profile may help you qualify, reduce an interest rate, or avoid a larger deposit. It cannot make a bad loan affordable. It cannot turn a car payment that strains your budget into a good deal. And it should never pressure you into borrowing simply to prove that you can. Your goal is not to worship the number. Your goal is to keep the information accurate, make payments consistently, use debt carefully, and put yourself in the strongest position when you genuinely need credit. In the next video, we are moving from financial boundaries with banks to financial boundaries with people. What to say when family asks for money and your budget has already said no.